Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT news, and going into the last chance qualifiers in all the regions, OpTic has revealed his perspective on how well Sentinels could do at the LCQ. Can they win it? Can they go one step further to champions? He reckons they've got a chance, but it's going to be far from easy. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to discuss today. Firstly, wanted to mention the different LCQs going on in various regions. It's kind of confusing really how many different last chance qualifiers there are in all the regions going on over the coming days. Let's look at when they begin, which teams are involved, so I'll try and give you guys as best updated as I possibly can. But yeah, the East Asia LCQ is honestly a really interesting one because we've got Japanese teams, we've got Korean teams, got Chinese teams in there. So I believe only one team gets through, and I think the only LCQ where two teams get through is the South American one that we'll see here in just a second. This is the bracket, by the way, for the last chance qualifier in East Asia. Edward Gaming on Slayers, so I believe Edward Chinese team, and then it's very different. Crazy Raccoon of course are here, Northeptian Japanese team. So yeah, pretty much all the names you might well expect are here in the LCQ to try and get through. This is the Asia Pacific LCQ, so this is currently ongoing. This is the first one to begin, started today. Two games have already happened here, as you can see in the upper side. Only one team I believe qualifies through this entire bracket, but yeah, that started today. The next one to begin is the North American one. This is the bracket, if you guys aren't familiar with it, in a few days time on August the 4th. Of course, only one team again that wins this entire tournament, gets through the double elimination gauntlet, wins the grand final, will qualify in addition to xCED and OpTic Gaming for the World Championship. That starts on August the 4th. Then on August the 6th, it's the last chance qualifier in South America. Similar looking bracket here, but that starts on, I guess, what is this coming Saturday. Then after that, also on the 7th, you've got the EMEA ones. That's starting, I'm guessing, on the Sunday, with that, of course, the bracket we looked at a few days ago. So strange to me that, I guess it makes sense they're not all kind of running alongside each other, but still, they're all starting pretty much on different dates with different brackets. And this is the final one to mention, the East Asia one, which is starting the latest of them all on the 8th of August. So one starting on the 4th, then the 6th, then the 7th, then the 8th. So kind of interesting stuff. But yeah, I'll try and do my best to keep you guys updated as this story progresses over the next couple of weeks, because some of these tournaments actually end quickly, and the NA one is over 2 weekends, ending on August the 15th, which I guess makes sense for the matches per day, but it does mean that things are rather more spread out than they are in some of these other ones. Let's talk about Jovi, because formerly of 100 Thieves, then most recently formerly of OpTic, he's joining Fusion for their LCQ run, right? So it's kind of interesting that he was, released just a few days ago from OpTic, despite having the first strike victory, technically the Masters victory, I believe, back in Reykjavik with OpTic Gaming, was released after Copenhagen in kind of strange circumstances where Chet, the other coach, said, okay, yeah, wish you best of luck, and he was like, wow, I really thank you for all your help and stuff. So it's kind of strange that he was removed, to be honest, I thought. But still, he's going to work with Fusion, one of the favorites for the South American LCQ. They, I think, just need to get top 2 to qualify. So hopefully that works out well for Jovi and that team. Let's talk Chamber real quick, actually, because I thought this is pretty funny, but everyone's kind of been wondering, what's going to be the case with Chamber? Is he getting significantly worse? Like, okay, what's happening here? Is he still going to be incredibly viable? Like, is he going to go and be a McDonald's, as we see right here, like from this one? And also, well, as we saw at the start of the video, they did a similar thing right here, put TenZ on Chamber, they said, ended up in McDonald's. He did. But I mean, look, everyone seems to have a different opinion right now on the new nerfs that are in the public beta environments. They've nerfed pretty much all his utility to some degree, but arguably the key changes that might be needed to be made to make him easier to play against haven't really happened, right? The fact that his pistol, his sheriff, still pulls out incredibly fast, his tour de force still fires as quickly as it did. Yes, it doesn't kill in one shot to the leg anymore, and yes, it's slow, is slightly less effective, and it's 8 ultimate points instead of 7, but realistically, is that actually that much difference to the agent? The Rendezvous has got rather significantly worse, but as Zekken says from xCED, the Chamber nerfs don't change any part of what makes him a pain to play against. I can't wait for it to change nothing, yeehaw, right? So this is kind of what people said in fairness when Jet was nerfed. That, okay, yeah, Jet is still viable, but honestly, even with the Jet nerfs coming through as they did, like, I still feel like Chamber would have taken over Jet to a certain degree anyway, right? People were kind of still using the Jet, and yes, you can see now if you look at the numbers, the Jet's kind of use percentage has decreased massively, while Chambers has increased a lot over the last couple of months, but like, at the same time, Jet probably was going to go out of fashion anyway, even if she stayed as she was, because people were realizing that Chamber was just so good. So yes, I do think the nerfs for Jet that some people said initially were going to be pretty much irrelevant and not change that much, like, it turned out they did actually make quite a bit of difference. But then again, would she have gone out of fashion anyway, with Chamber being as strong as he was? That's another question. So we'll see what happens here, right? Because people did say that Jet was still going to be viable. She still is, but kind of few and far between. Is Chamber still viable on a very high level? Is he now, instead of a 65-70% plus agent, Is he a 50% agent, or, you know, we'll see how the meta kind of balances out. But I'm guessing these changes are going to come through for champions, because if they're announcing them now, after the LCQ, they might just release these changes with Pearl for champions, which would, of course, have a pretty significant impact on the way the game is played and the way the meta is evolving. So definitely one to keep your eyes on. Like, I mean, Ye is pretty full of confidence that, yeah, Chamber's going to be gone. He's now no longer relevant to the kind of key advantage he had with being able to teleport away very quickly, and to a large radius will affect him significantly, but maybe others certainly do seem presently to disagree. And that's the thing, Chamber might be going down. Does that mean Jet is back though, right? What will we see at champions? Because that was the question from Ye and Turko. Like, will they be back on the Jet come champions? Like, you know, what's going to happen between those two agents? Because Chamber technically a Sentinel, but like, let's be honest here, he's filled very different roles for a long period of time. So we'll see. Definitely everyone seems to have their own opinion on whether Chambers like got significantly worse, whether he's still viable, and I'm sure the pros will try and figure things out themselves as well. Let's discuss Sentinels. Here's the team. TenZ, of course, not actually here in person. They had to Photoshop a bit afterwards, but still a pretty cool picture, right? And as we've looked at the LCQs, everyone's given their thoughts on, okay, who's exactly going to win. I'll probably do my own like bracket predictions in a few days here. Like, I think this is a really difficult one to call actually, but just before it begins, I'll probably do my own bracket predictions. This is wardell's bracket prediction. He's got Sentinels making the final and Cloud9 winning. So his placings are Cloud9, Sentinels, NRG, FaZe, and then Shopify Rebellion 100T, and then the Guard Evil Geniuses as at 7th, 8th. So pretty interesting stuff. Most people have FaZe there or thereabouts. Most people seem to think right now Cloud9, FaZe, NRG are certainly up there. 100 Thieves might be there. Sentinels, I think, are honestly a massive wild card. And these are the bookies. I just thought this is kind of interesting to look at, like, who the bookies are thinking are the favourites for this tournament, because they've got FaZe Clan as the favourite for this tourney, then 100 Thieves, then NRG. So that's the theoretical 1, 2, 3, then Evil Geniuses, then Cloud9. So a lot of people really rate this Cloud9 team, it seems. But yeah, apparently that's not really reflected in these odds right here, because obviously they made a roster change because they're kind of one of their key guys left to join T1, and then and as did their coach, I'm pretty sure. So Cloud9, their new team didn't look that good at the end of stage 2. Then Shopify Rebellion, then the Guards, and then Sentinels, apparently the least favoured team to win this entire event, with apparently a 6 or a 7% chance of doing so, right? But Ye believes maybe their chances are greater than that. He wouldn't say it's incredibly likely, but you know, it has been the case before where teams just click, they're feeling good, they, you know, hit their stride. They've of course brought on coaching staff, analyst talent, and Ye reckons they've got a decent chance.
Do you think Sentinels has any chance to win LCQ? I mean, there's obviously a chance. I guess that sounds like a little toxic, but there's definitely a chance. Like, you'd be surprised, guys. Like, there's a lot of teams that sometimes just come up out of like nowhere, you know. And with the right pieces, like, you know, sometimes it can work out pretty well. So one thing I will say is I think NA will get like a lot better. Short term is what's going to happen is like the teams that don't make franchising, what's going to end up happening is like they're going to sell off their players, right? And so I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a large amount of talent get like forced upward, essentially. Because like right now, if you guys don't know, a lot of orgs are locking down players.
Hey team.
And like they're just not selling them, you know?
I thought the end of that clip actually from Ye was rather insightful as well. The second part of it, where he talked about the fact that there's going to be a serious concentration of talent at the top of the North American scene. This, I think, is certainly going to be the case. There's a lot of talent in North America, but right now a lot of it is spread over many teams, and only certain of those teams are going to get into franchising. Teams, for example, like FaZe or Gen.G or even XSET, right? Like, if these organizations don't get through, as they may very well not, like even FaZe, big question marks around them right now, despite the strength of that organization theoretically. Whether they're going to get into franchising, that's a big question. The Guards version 1, other teams in a similar boat, NRG even, like some of these teams won't get in, and if that's the case, what happens to their players? Like, they're not just going to sit there on the bench, they're going to negotiate, try and get involved with the top team. So OpTic, I think they're confident they're going to stay together, but another team, potentially the likes of Sentinels going into next season, like if there are big name free agents out there and the team wants to kind of go a different route, then they will have options out there, right? So he reckons that actually the North American scene might become more competitive internationally because of franchising, because the talent is going to get concentrated towards the top of the scene. Then again, though, that might be a very similar story in other regions as well. It could mean we have an incredibly competitive season of Valorant ahead next season when the franchising partnership league comes into effect, but of course it carries its fair share of downsides as well. We've talked about, of course, the last few days, some of the teams that might will be favoured for the LCQ. We've seen a lot of people say FaZe, they should be up there, NRG as well. A lot of people say, yeah, these guys are nasty in scrims. The Guards apparently also have done some damage challenging scrims to the Virtuoso guys. As well, Oki says right here from Virtuoso, Guard is winning LCQ, no one can prove me otherwise. And I believe, Trent says this, and Valent says, great block of scrims we had right there. So maybe Guard is also looking next level. Like, look, they play Sentinels round 1. We'll see how that one goes, only a few days away from this officially kicking off. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And I grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.